Over the last 4 years, I've been putting out inspirational videos and tutorials all about stained glass on social media. These have all been pre-recorded videos, and now we're taking that to the next level, and you, the creative community, can help me build it. I'm going to go out once a week live from my studio here in Leicestershire in the UK. I'll start with things like working with dipping pens, and I'll answer your questions as we go through the live stream, so you can ask anything you like about stained glass. So on the live stream, you'll have the option to type in your questions. It'll come up on the feed here, and I'll be able to answer it in real time. It's really exciting to be able to do this, and together we'll build this live stream into something that works for everybody. Well, let's do a live stream. Hello everyone, and welcome to today's live stream. I hope you're well. It is the 10th of February 2026. Can you believe it? 8:30 p.m. UK time. We're doing a live stream for the next hour or so here on YouTube and Facebook. If you're new to this live stream, welcome on board. My name's Derek. I'm a glass artist, and I do a live stream every week on Tuesday, this same time, 8:30 p.m. to this amazing international creative community that has developed over the last few months when we started doing live streams over on YouTube, exclusively on YouTube to start with. And we got a lot of people coming onto the stream, professional glass artists, amateurs, interested parties, people just curious. They maybe drop on the live stream by chance and they just find this guy talking to them, asking them to ask questions and all the rest of it. So that's me. My name's Derek, and I'm here to kind of help you guys for the next hour, talking about all things stained glass. So we're just going to be chilling and chatting all things stained glass really for the next hour. There's no fixed agenda to this live stream at all. It's really just a reaction to all of us meeting together and saying hello. I'm getting people jumping onto the stream now. I'm going to say hello to a few people in a moment, but welcome. If you're joining us on Facebook, come and say hello. We don't really broadcast, we don't really see very many live broadcasts on Facebook. I know it's slightly unusual. Obviously you get them on things like Twitch, you get lots of live streams on that, you get lots of live streams on YouTube, and a few on Instagram. I've seen a few people that I follow starting to do live streams on Instagram as well, which is great. It's just a wonderful way for us to connect with one another in real time. This is what it's all about. It's really about just this live engagement together, so you can ask questions, say hello, and just meet and greet fellow creatives. The amazing thing about this live stream is that we get people arriving from all over the world. A lot of people from the States, a lot of people from Europe, from America, from America's the same as the States, from Eastern Europe, Hungary, from East, way down in Australia. We even had people in the Middle East as well. So we have people from all over coming to say hello, and we have regulars who join us as well. So I'm going to say hello to a few of the regulars who are joining in. So the first off the blocks was Original Pals from Switzerland. Hello fam, hello to you, welcome on board. It's great to see you here today. You are a channel member, which is fantastic. Thank you so much for being a channel member. If you don't know, that you can actually contribute to this development of this channel by becoming a channel member. It's exclusively really on YouTube, and there you get extra content, you get members only content. So I'm putting more and more content up for members only, so exclusive videos and polls and behind the scenes. I'm really going to ramp that up so you get a lot more content that is exclusive for channel members, as my way of thanking you for helping us to grow this channel. I can't really do it without you guys, especially even things on the live stream today. I can't really do it without you. I need you guys there to kind of bounce off of, and it's just fantastic that you're showing up every week to say hello, which is absolutely wonderful. We're getting another hello Chung, Alukin Chung. Hello to you too. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I'm not sure that I am, but you're welcome. Hello, welcome to the stream today. And hello everyone, very excited to be here. Marina Cruto 9606, fantastic that you're here. Another channel member. Marina, welcome. It's great to see you here. I really apologize, I'm messing up everybody's names today because I'm trying to read them. I'm trying to read a whole lot of chat that's coming in at the same time, but it's fantastic that you're here, and it's fantastic that you're supporting what we do as a channel member. And Anthony says hello from North Carolina. Anthony, fantastic. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. How are you? Hope you're well. What's North Carolina like today? I hope it's good. We've had a bit of a miserable day here in the UK. Evening, Derek, talking about the UK from rainy Birmingham. Lee Hodge, 4006. Finally been able to catch a live stream. Hope you're doing okay. I am, Lee. How are you? How's Birmingham? I hope it's nice. I hope it's a good day for you. It's been a bit drizzly over here in Leicestershire. It's probably been the same with you. It's that really weird time of year, isn't it, where we're kind of, we're just all waiting for spring. We're all waiting for better weather, and we're kind of just plowing on through these dark nights. But Lee, it's fantastic that you're joining us on the live stream today. If you have any questions, don't hesitate, guys. If you're on the chat, type a question into the chat, and I will do my very best to answer them for you. I'm here for the next hour, to just chill with you guys and to just chat about, whatever you fancy. There was a question that came up on Facebook, which I'll get to in a second. Someone just before we went live put a question up on the Facebook chat. So I'll get back to that. But do ask any questions, guys. If you're in the chat today, come and say hello. Let me know how you're doing. Colin, another channel member. Good evening to everyone from Southeast England. Good evening, Colin. How are you? I hope you're well. How's your day been today? I hope it's been good. Are you still practicing your stained glass painting? I hope so. I really hope so. Colin was on one of our masterclasses fairly recently, and it's great to see you jumping on the live stream as a regular, Colin. Absolutely brilliant that you're here. And Nicola H. Z7R. Hello, another member. Hello, Nicola. Welcome to you. It is great that you're joining us. I'll just love all these channel members joining on the stream, jumping on to say hello. Really appreciate it. You mean the world to me that you are investing in your time and energy to support what we're doing here on the channel. We're here. If you don't know, if you're joining for the first time and you haven't a clue what this live stream is all about, basically we're here to help encourage and inspire the next generation of fellow creatives to explore stained glass, to explore using stained glass in their own creative journey. You might not have thought about using stained glass as a sort of mode of expression. It may be brand new to you. You may not even think that it's possible. Well, it is. It's a very specialist niche area. Now, stained glass was put on the endangered list of crafts, the red list of endangered crafts, 2 or 3 years ago by Heritage Crafts, which is a UK-based charity that monitors and looks after. It's like an umbrella organization for a whole host of crafts here in the UK. So roof thatching, woodworking, hat making, stained glass, stone carving, a whole host of different crafts. And it really is a great advocate for the crafts here in the UK. And it publishes this list every year or every couple of years called the Red List of Endangered Crafts. And a couple of years ago, stained glass arrived on that endangered list. Now, it doesn't mean to say we're about to go extinct, but what it does mean is that we're not getting enough new blood, enough new people coming into the craft, learning it and kind of carrying on the tradition. People like me, where, you know, I've been doing this for 40 years, and I went through the whole art school system, and that whole art school system isn't really there anymore. So we're doing this outreach in terms of social media, trying to put as much good quality information out there on my YouTube channel, for example, and my Facebook page. You know, we've got over 80,000 subscribers on those formats, and with subscribers on Instagram as well. And really, on a weekly basis, I put out, you know, inspirational videos and tutorials, artist interviews, studio tours, product reviews, that kind of thing. And I'm now busy putting a whole lot of new courses, new videos together now that I've got my online courses done and out in the wild. So I'm reaching out to other glass artists. You'd be pleased to hear, because last week on the live stream, a couple of people were saying, Derek, we love the artist interviews. Can you do some more of those? I heard you, and I logged that, and I'm in the process of putting feelers out to see who would like to do an interview with me. So we do these sort of either in-person interviews where I'll go down to the studio and do a studio tour with the artist and talk about their work, or if they're in another country, in the States, for example, or elsewhere in the world, you know, it's not that easy to just go and do a studio tour with them. So I'll do like it's like a Zoom call, but it's not done on Zoom. It's done on another platform. But, you know, we record meetings and we talk to glass artists, get them to talk about their work and how, you know, how they evolved, how they got into stained glass to start with. I find it fascinating because I tend to try and interview artists whose work I like, you know, and I think you're going to like it too. So I kind of like to bring them to you guys as a sort of offering to show you, like, you know, and to elevate their work and say, look, have you seen this artist's work? It's absolutely incredible. So I'm going to be doing more of those. And, you know, in the next week or so, I'm going down to see another artist to do an interview at their studio. That's going to be private until it comes out public. I'm not going to exactly say who it is just now, but I think you'll be pleased, chat. I think you'll be pleased with who we're going to go and visit and do an artist interview with them. So Skip, hello everyone, says Skip. Hey Skip, welcome on board. Great to see you. Fantastic. Another regular channel member and a regular contributor to the live stream. It's fantastic that you're here, Skip. Really, really appreciate you showing up every week. I really appreciate it all. And Kev Keenan 5106 says, evening everyone. Evening all. Evening to you, Kev Keelan 5106, another channel member. Fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm loving all these channel members who are jumping on the chat today to say hello. And Jenna says, when you drew the face of the young girl back, the background had square colored glass behind. Did you fuse the colors? How did you contain them together? Hello, by the way. Hello, Janice. Wonderful to see you. Thank you so much for your question. That's a great question. So, yeah, that was a project where I was experimenting with cutting up small squares of glass, lots of different colored squares of glass, but not really fusing them together or gluing them together. All I was doing was that I was putting them on a clear piece of glass and then putting another clear piece of glass on top and then sealing all the way around so that the individual pieces of cut glass were sort of trapped inside a little double glazed unit. And then I would put a painting of a female figure or a male portrait, whatever, on the front of that. And I was experimenting with changing the background, having a painted image in the front, and then colorizing it by either using enamels or silver stain, or in the instance that you're thinking about, Janice, we were putting cut pieces of colored glass. So there are a couple of videos on my YouTube channel which explain the whole process in detail. So have a little look on my YouTube channel. If I know you're a regular and you are a YouTube member on my channel, but there are a couple of videos out there which explain the whole process. But basically it's cut pieces of colored glass, little small squares this kind of a size, all bunched in together, all sort of set up one against the other in lots of different colors, and then sandwiched between another two panes of glass. And then the idea is that you can rotate the panel around to get different kinds of color combinations, you know, with a painted piece in front. So it was really an experimental piece. I enjoyed it a lot, and I'm going to do more like that. but it was just playing around, really. It actually went into a couple of exhibitions. There was one with the British Society of Master Glass Painters was looking for exhibition panels, so that actually went into an exhibition a couple of years back, well, maybe 4 years ago, something like that now. Veena Patel, hello Derek, hello to you, Veena, welcome. It's great to see you. Thank you for joining us on Facebook. It's great that you're joining us on Facebook today. Welcome on board. It's lovely to see you. As I say, we don't really see many live streams on Facebook, and Facebook has this. What they do now is they will host a live stream or allow you to present a live stream, and then 30 days later they take it down. So it's much more ephemeral and transient on Facebook. It's there for a little while and then it disappears. Where all of my live streams on my YouTube channel can be watched afterwards. So if you miss a live stream, if you can't get to the appointment of 8:30 p.m. UK time, you can always watch it later on my YouTube channel. Or you can watch it on Facebook for 30 days, up to 30 days, and then they start to remove it. So I'm now beginning to see that my earlier live streams on Facebook are starting to get removed after that 30-day cycle goes through the process. So Peter Greenroads is saying hi from Holland. Peter, welcome to you. How are you? It's great that you're joining us all the way from Holland on YouTube. Thank you so much for being part of this live stream today. Welcome. It is great to see you. Bianca Tenbrink. Hello, Derek. Hello, Bianca. How are you? You're on Facebook, and thank you so much for joining us. It's great to see people are coming on to the stream as well from Facebook. I really want to encourage you guys. If you're on Facebook, come and say hello. This is an international community of fellow creators, as you can see from the chat, from all over the world who join in to say hello, which is absolutely brilliant. You are all right. Hello to you. Yeah, I'm sorry if I got your name wrong. I really do apologize. Yehudith, good evening. And many glassworks on my working table. Another channel member, Yehudith, over in the Middle East. Oh, Yehudith, fantastic that you're joining us. I know it's late in the evening for you. Many glassworks on your work table. Do tell us, Yehudith, what are you working on? It would be great if you let us know. We're all here to share what we're doing. Many of us are fellow creatives. Many of us are glass artists. So it would be great to know what is on your light table today. I'll show you what's on my light table in a little minute or two. And Sarah Art and Glass. Hey, Sarah, installed on my sofa for my weekly fix of stained glass chat. Fantastic, Sarah. Welcome on board. It's great to see you. Hope you've got a glass of something nice, whether it's a cup of tea or something else, but it's great to see you. Settle in. It's lovely to see you, and thanks so much for joining in the chat and saying hello. HM Fan 2010. Hello from Ohio, where we're above 32 degrees Fahrenheit today. Is that warm? I suppose it is. It's pretty warm, yeah? 32 degrees. In Ohio, HM Fan 2010, welcome on board. Sunny and warm, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And for Anthony, another channel member, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Great stuff. Thank you so much, Anthony, for saying hello, for being part of the live stream today. It's great that you're here. I'm just around the corner, and Corby says, hey, Corby, fantastic. It's great that you're joining us. You are literally around the corner, Kev. So, yeah, brilliant. Good that you're jumping into the live stream today on YouTube. Wonderful that you're here. Thanks so much for being part of this live stream. It's great. If you have any questions, Kev, please don't hesitate to ask. Thunderwood Underwood, hi from chilly and wet Wiltshire. My goodness, is it? Is it chilly and wet? It's great to see you, Thunderwood Underwood. You are here again as a regular. And Original Pella says, missing several familiar names so far. Good to see a couple of new ones, though. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's great to see some new people joining the stream today. Wonderful. It's a kind of a funny time of the year, isn't it? Where I think a lot of people are just hunkered down. They're hunkered down in... trying to get through this kind of miserable weather this time of year. Hi, Derek. I'm going to use Flash for the first time. Can I paint directly onto a sandblasted surface, or will the surface be too rough? Unfortunately, can't do acid etching in the studio I'm working in. That's a great question. Absolutely. Oh, I like your picture of the smoking cat as well. That's fantastic. So, Sandblasted surfaces, you can paint on them, but what tends to happen, as you can imagine, when you're sandblasting glass, you're blasting small granules of sand. Usually the sand is an aluminium oxide, which is like little grains, but it can be other things as well that you blast at the glass, and it basically creates lots of little micro pits in the surface of the glass. So if you were to magnify in on the sandblasted surface, it would be like, a little bit like the surface of the moon, full of craters and divots and raised parts and recessed parts. And what that tends to do is it tends to trap dirt, and it tends to trap oils more easily. The end result is it kind of smudges, and it's easily smudged. So you can't really correct, if you're painting directly onto freshly sandblasted glass, you'll find that it's almost like porous, and it absorbs everything, and you can't tidy it up, and you can very easily get finger marks and messes on it, and you can get grease marks from your fingers, etc., onto the sandblasted surface. What's the best thing to do is to do a thing called kiln polishing. Now, kiln polishing is basically after you've sandblasted your flashed glass, before you do anything with it and before you touch the surface, put it into the kiln and take it up to about 670 degrees, maybe 665 degrees centigrade, which is just below the melting point of the glass, and hold it at that temperature for maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes. What that does is it encourages all those little peaks and troughs in the sandblasted surface to melt down slightly, and it becomes less of a surface of the moon texture, and it becomes like more flat and more varnished. And that is the ideal surface for you to paint on. So I hope I've explained that clearly enough, is that you put it into the kiln, you kiln what's called kiln polishing. It is basically taking it up to about 665 degrees centigrade, or even 670 degrees centigrade. That's pretty high. I would say probably 665 degrees centigrade is probably fine. And soak it for at least 15 minutes at that temperature, then switch the kiln off and let it cool down. And what you'll find is that surface, which was very porous and which was very easily corrupted with stain and from sweat from your fingers and grease like that, is much more of a glazed surface. That's the ideal surface on which you can then paint. Hello from West Georgia. If you hear whirring in the background, I'm driving my sewing machine. Jerry Z, lovely to see you, Jerry Z. We were actually talking on our private live stream that I do for my course members. Jerry Z is doing Enamel Painting 101, and once a month I get together with my students on a private Zoom call like this, where they can turn their cameras on and we can talk to each other, and we talk about the course, and they talk about how they're getting on with the course. And so I love to be able to do that, and Jerry was there as part of that live stream. It's great to see you on this live stream today with your sewing machine. Fantastic, Jerry. Thank you so much for being part of it today. Here, better late than never, Benny Hume Photography. Benny, welcome on board. Great to see you. Thank you so much for being part of the live stream today on YouTube and on Facebook. Is Jill Ellen here for the first time? Can you talk a little bit more about how you choose colors and textures for your panels? Jill, great question. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, that's a really, really good question. Talking a little bit more about how you choose colors and textures for your panels. Well, very much depends on the design, Joe. So I usually start, if I'm doing a new design, I'll usually start with a drawing, which will just be a pencil drawing, usually trying to get the outlines of the drawing, so I get the basic shapes in the format. So, you know, whether it's a figure or whether it's an abstract piece or whether it's something symbolic, I kind of place the design in the space that I needed to have it in. And then I work through lots of kind of sketches, just thinking about how I'm going to break the design up in terms of lead lines and how I'm going to cut each individual piece of glass. This is all done before thinking about color. So all of that work is done where you're composing your stained glass window as a black and white image, mostly as a line drawing. And once I've got the proportions right and I've got the balance of the elements of the design right, then I start thinking about color. And normally when it comes to color, I use Caran d'Ache pencils, which are, I don't know if you're familiar with those, Jill, but they are water-soluble pencils. So basically you can just sketch out your colors using colored pencils. And then once you're happy with the kind of positioning of the color using the pencil, you can get a little jar of water with a paintbrush in it and start to paint the drawn color. And it actually makes the lines soluble, and it creates a sort of almost like a watercolor effect. So you can actually paint the Caran d'Ache pencils in to kind of create colored watercolor effects. Sometimes I use inks as well. But in terms of the color palette, a lot of that is dictated by the theme of the design. So if I'm doing say a traditional Victorian stained glass window for a front door panel, that usually has primary colors in it. It usually has a clear background or a textured clear background, maybe a stylized rose with some petals and leaves and things like that. So you tend to think about red for the rose and green for the petals, and maybe a decorative border which might be in a blue or a two-tone blue, that kind of thing. So those kind of traditional stained glass panels, almost the color is predetermined because you're reproducing that particular style. But if you were creating something modern, if you were doing something entirely modern, then the color palette is entirely up to you. The decision has to be made in terms of like which types of glass you want to use. So you might be using opalescent glasses. You might be making copper foil panels, Jill. I'm not sure. If you want to jump back into the chat, Jill, and tell me a little bit more about your specific thinking. Are you making copper foil work? Are you using opalescent glasses? Are you using textured glasses? What types of glasses are you using or thinking about using for your own work? Because that again will kind of funnel you down a certain path of thinking. So if you're doing copper foil work, for example, and you're doing Tiffany lamps, you'll be using the color palette that you'll be familiar with Tiffany. Louis Comfort Tiffany's design style was very uniquely his, and he had an amazing array of glass types at his disposal. Modern glasses are fantastic, but they're kind of slightly different to the traditional Tiffany style panels, but you can still get a wide selection of opalescent glasses. What I tend not to do is I tend not to mix opalescent glass and transparent glass in the same panel. The reason for that is that if you have a series of opalescent pieces, and then you have a transparent glass panel in between that, your eye can go through the colored translucent layer to see the background behind it, and it can be quite disconcerting because you're looking at the plane of the window with all of the opalescent glass, and it almost looks like there's a hole in the window if you've got translucent glass next to opalescent glass. So what I tend to do, if I'm making a panel in opalescent glasses, I will use entirely opalescent glass for the whole panel. Or if I'm using translucent glasses, whether they're textured glasses or just pot metal colors, I won't use any opalescent glasses with that. I tend to not mix and match the colors too much or the types of glasses too much. But as far as color palette is concerned, really that's personal choice. That really is 100% personal choice. Some of it will be dictated by the theme of the design that you're working on. But if you're just creating something from scratch, those are the kind of very broad guidelines that I would give you. I wouldn't try to be too prescriptive because color choice is very much up to you. You might want to use muted colors and soft pastel colors. So, pastel mint greens and pastel pinks work really nice together. Or you might want really bold, strong colors, turning the color up to number 11, so they're really pinks and vivid lime greens and oranges, and it really depends on your own particular preference. But I hope, Jill, that's sort of answered your question a little bit, but do jump back onto the chat and give me a little bit more information. Dominica says hello to you. Dominica, welcome on board. You are also on Facebook, watching us today on the Facebook stream. Welcome, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for being part of this amazing creative community, this international community. And Peter Greenrose says, in the Netherlands, it's hard to find zinc framing profiles. Do you have any tips where I can buy it? Okay, Peter, so immediately what springs to mind if you're in the Netherlands is Pele Glass. Now, I'm not sure if Pele Glass do zinc frames. I'm kind of thinking they might, but they're basically this amazing store of colored paints and stains and brushes and enamels, and they do an amazing array. I'm sure, or I can imagine, that they would do enamel, that they would do zinc profiles, extruded zinc as well for your perimeter of your windows. Pele Glass is spelled PELI.EU, so it's www.pele.eu. If you have a look on there, Peter, I think you might find your zinc supplier there. That's all I can suggest. That's the only supplier I know in Holland, and I buy from Pele Glass. I can't rate them highly enough. They're absolutely fantastic. Jenna says, yes, waiting for spring, 20 to 30 degrees, getting warmer. That's great to hear, Jenna. It's absolutely fantastic. And the best stove project. Oh, hello. Good afternoon from South Georgia. Feels like spring here today. Enjoyed the video you shared this morning. So many things can be done with glass. Yeah, thanks so much, Best Stove Project. So I reposted a video of a lecture that I gave at the British Society of Master Glass Painters back in 2022 or something like that. I can't remember exactly when it was, talking about the future of stained glass. It is pretty much as relevant today as it was then. It's really trying to encourage people to be as experimental as possible when they're approaching stained glass. We often think of stained glass as being very kind of traditional and dusty and a little bit backward looking, and like church art and religious art, but stained glass is so much more than that. So that lecture really was a way of showcasing artists whose work I really liked, like Kate Maestri, for example, or oh my goodness, there's lots of artists that I reference, and I reference some of my own work as well. Graham Jones, people like that, who do amazing contemporary glass. They make glass do interesting and exciting things, and I think I would really encourage you to be as experimental as possible. There are no rules when it comes to being creative. The only rule is there are no rules. So be experimental, break the rules, rip up the rule book, and make your own creations with glass in new and exciting ways. So that's what that lecture was about, and so it's available on my Facebook page, and I think it's still available on my YouTube channel. I might repost it again so it's more up to date for you guys, but have a look at my Facebook page. There was a post today. It's quite a long lecture. I think it's about 20 minutes long, something like that, but it's really kind of like laying out the stall for being as creative as possible, when you're creating your stained glass. So yeah, the Best Stove Project, thanks so much for referencing that. I really appreciate it. Ooh, fun. Janice, fantastic. Derek, what would you say has been one of your biggest hurdles when you were learning, and what did you take away from succeeding? Oh, what a lovely question. Thank you so much for that. What would you say was one of your biggest hurdles when you were learning? And what did you take away from succeeding? Well, I suppose one of my biggest hurdles was starting out for myself, running my own business. I basically left art school. I learned at art school, and I was there for 4 years, and I kind of absolutely fell in love with stained glass. And then I came down to work for another company at the tender age of sort of 22, and I hated it. I hated working for them, and I stayed there 9 months, and then I started working for myself, and I'd only just moved to the city of Leicester 9 months before starting my own business, so I didn't know anybody. So I would say that was one of my biggest hurdles, was actually starting a business in a city, not knowing anyone, not having any contacts, not having anybody that could help me or to vouch for me. And that first year was difficult. Basically, I would create little flyers and put flyers through people's letterboxes telling them that I'd set up a little stained glass studio, was designing and making stained glass windows. And of course, naturally, as you can imagine, if you're new in a city and you don't know anybody, it's hard to find work. So that was a real hurdle for me, getting through that first year and believing in myself and believing that I could still make it. You know, there's a lot of times when you feel like giving up, and if you guys are a creative in whatever discipline you're in, you'll know what that's like. You know, it's not all roses, it's not all, you know, happy days. There's lots of times when there's a lot of questioning yourself and questioning whether you've actually made the right decision and whether you can actually ever make a success of it. And I do remember many times, especially in that first year, thinking, what have I done? What do I think I'm doing? Nobody knows I even exist. But I think, you know, you do need a little bit of perseverance. You do need a little bit of grit and determination to kind of push on through. And, you know, that was a big hurdle to overcome. And what did I learn? What was my takeaway? My takeaway was if you really have a dream, if you really want to do something, don't let anything get in your way. Don't let anything stop you. Find a way. You know, you will find a way. You hear this story so often from people who are up against it, finding a way. You know, it's about just pushing on doors. Keep pushing on doors, and every now and again a door will open for you, allowing you to move forward into a bigger space with more opportunities. But it does take time. Now, it's easy for me to say that I did that in the first year because I didn't have a family, I didn't have a mortgage, I didn't have any responsibilities. I was living with a girlfriend at the time who was giving me free use of her garage, and so in that regard, it was fantastic that I had help to find that first workspace to work from, and I'm forever indebted for that opportunity. And I realized that if you've got a young family or if you've got a mortgage, it's very, very hard to set up a business straight away and kind of try and make a living from it. You almost have to ease your way into it. And I do quite a lot of coaching of fellow creatives who are setting up businesses or trying to pivot from doing it as a hobby to doing it more full time. And it's a difficult journey, but it is doable, and you know, it's being proved time and time again by other creatives who are making a success of it. Vina, thank you, Derek. Thank you, Vina, so much for being part of this stream. Thank you for being on Facebook and joining us today. A lot of online glass artists wear aprons. What material would folks recommend? Great question, Thunderwood Underwood. Heavy duty cotton, waxed cotton, light or heavyweight leather? Asking for a friend. Well, you know, you probably are aware that I have a leather apron that I wear. I get more comments about that blooming leather apron than anything else. People go, where do you get that apron from? Where can you buy it? I would love to be able to source that for you guys, because basically I had a lady who made it for me many years ago. I found her on Etsy, and she was making leather goods, you know, handbags and things like that. And I just emailed her and I said, would you be able to make an apron for me? And she made my apron, and it was a one-off, and I love it. I absolutely love it, and it's quite a lightweight leather. And to answer your question, Thunderwood Underwood, leather to me is the best because it's very hard wearing, and it's wiped down. It takes a lot of, it won't rip easily, basically, and you can solder with it, and if there's any splattering solder off the whatever you're soldering or glass paints or whatever, it's just wiped down. But try and get a very lightweight leather if you can, because I have a couple of leather aprons, and one of them is a heavier leather, and the strap goes around the back of my neck. And do you know what? After a while, your neck really starts to hurt, because the apron, although it may not feel particularly heavy to start with, it's like anything. If you wear a rucksack and you go for a walk, the rucksack gets heavier and heavier the longer you walk as you get more tired. That's what happens with a heavy apron as well, especially a thick kind of leather apron. So I would avoid going down the route of getting a heavy leather apron, because at least if it goes around the back of your neck, if you can get one that goes across your shoulders and doesn't go around the nape of your neck, you're going to kind of hold the weight of the leather apron on your shoulders, and you can tolerate it for a lot longer. But I also have cotton aprons as well. Now, cotton aprons are great, and I use them in my teaching classes here in the studio. I've got them branded with the studio name, Limelight Studios. and they're, you know, you pop them in the wash and they're good to go. So, you know, if you're just starting out, a heavy duty cotton apron would be great, or even a wax one. I think the most important thing, Thunderwood Underwood, is the weight. You know, try not to get yourself a really heavy apron, because you'll thank me for not going down that route of getting a heavy one, because it is, you know, if you're standing at a bench all day and you're basically standing looking over a bench, you get fatigued after a period of time, especially around your neck. So that would be my suggestion. Martha, hi to you. Hi from Canada. Hey Martha, welcome. It's great to see you. You're on Facebook again, another Facebook viewer. Thank you so much, guys, for popping onto the live stream from Facebook. I really appreciate it. Love to build up this audience on Facebook as well. And by the way, guys, if you're liking this stream, please leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You know, because it's really important for us to kind of help to kind of pass this information on to as many people as possible. So hitting that like button is a great way of doing it. You can also subscribe to the channel, become a channel member if you want to. Synergy, hello folks, hope everyone is good. Ethel, it's wonderful to see you. Ethel, another long standing channel member. Fantastic, Ethel, that you're joining us. Welcome on board to you. Brian says, hello all, first time here. I love your videos and this community. Planning to sign up for Derek's course soon. Brian, that is fantastic news. Thank you so much for reminding me about courses. I've just launched new dates for my in-person 4-day masterclasses. So I, as an experiment really, earlier on this year, I put out some dates for the beginning of March for a 4-day masterclass, which is basically 2 sets of 2-day masterclasses bolted on together. So our glass painting masterclass is the first 2 days, and then we move directly onto that for the second 2 days for enamel painting. So it's a little bit of an experiment. We're kind of doing this and developing the course with the help of people who are coming onto the course. So I know these courses are really popular as the 2-day courses, but a lot of people, especially people who are traveling from the States, for example, or the Middle East, or from Europe, were saying, look, Derek, you know, if we're coming all the way over to do this course, let's make it a longer course. You know, let's make it a 4-day course rather than just a 2-day course. And I was kind of always slightly anxious, or not anxious, but concerned that people would want to do a 4-day course, but they've been really popular. So I had 2 separate 4-day courses advertised for March. They're all sold out. So I'm now advertising for April. So I'll play you a little video which gives you a little bit more information about the 4-day masterclass, and I'll leave details where you can find out more information about that as well. So here we go. Hello, just wanted to let you know that I've released new dates for my popular 4-day masterclass here at the studio. The 13th to the 16th of April 2026, I'm hosting another 4-day glass painting and enamel course where you're going to go through a whole lot of different techniques together. It's kind of 2 courses wrapped into a 4-day event. So you're going to go through painting and staining and enamel work and brush work and special effects and sgraffito and dipping pen work. There's a whole list of things. I had 2 sets of courses for March. They were completely sold out. So I'm really pleased to be able to offer new dates for you in April. So that once again, that is the 13th to the 16th of April. I'll leave links somewhere in this video where you can get more information and a booking form. There's only 4 places available, so I hope to see you soon. Bye for now. Hey guys, so so 13th to the 16th of April is the 4-day. There's only 4 places available, so that is coming up on the screen just now, DerekHuntArtist.com/4-day glass painting mags. That's the kind of direct link. The easiest thing to do is just to go to my website, which is DerekHuntArtist.com, and look for the in-person courses. But yeah, 4 places up for grabs. If you're interested in doing a 4-day masterclass, there's 1 up at the moment. These places go quite fast, but yeah, it'd be lovely to see if you're joining the live stream and you're thinking of maybe coming over either to the UK in April quite a lot of people who message me are talking about kind of making plans for later on in the year. But yeah, that is now available. There are 4 places up for grabs if you're interested. So Jerry Z says, my oyster package arrived on Friday. I'm over the moon. My oyster package. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, your oyster stains, Jerry. Absolutely fantastic. I'm so glad you got them. I absolutely love Cliff Oyster's copper ruby stains and yellow silver stains. So Jerry, do let us know how you get on with it. Do some experiments, as we talked about before. Do your little tests on small pieces of glass just to see how the kiln behaves with the colors. But so pleased you got the oyster stains. They're absolutely brilliant. Anthony says, for those interested in incorporating photos into their glass projects, they make water slide decal paper. They adhere great to glass. They make the paper for both inkjet and laser. Okay, that is brilliant. So who's they? Do tell us, Anthony. For those interested in incorporating photos into their glass projects, they make water slide decal paper. Do tell us who that is. I'm not quite sure if I missed part of that conversation as to who the suppliers are who make water slide decal papers. Do tell us, Anthony, in the chat. I'll put that up on the screen when we get that. And Mary Haycroft says, hi from the USA. I'm listening to the stream while I'm painting. Thanks for the great painting course 101, Mary. Wonderful. So glad that you are enjoying the course. Thank you so much for investing in that, and I hope you get a lot from it. It's a course that's pretty thorough. It gives you a lot of good information. So thank you for that. And you're listening to the stream while painting. That's brilliant. Is it glass? I hope you're painting glass. You might be painting your spare bedroom. I don't know, but do tell us, Mary. It's fantastic that you're joining us today. And Crystal Blue, hi Derek. I'm here from a blizzard day in Ottawa. Crystal, welcome. Fantastic to see you. I'm loving what you were posting to me the other day. Crystal is experimenting with glass painting and enamels, etc. And I love that solution for the dipping pen. Really like it. So I'm going to have to get hold of some of those paints that you were showcasing for me. And I'm going to try that as well, because that is a great way forward. Really like it, to Crystal, but I know you're experimenting, so I won't say too much about it at the moment until you decide that you want to make that available to other people. But yeah, please keep experimenting. Keep sending me those videos through, because I love what you're doing. Really do, Crystal. Thank you so much for being part of it today. Part of the live stream from blizzard-filled Ottawa. Welcome on board. Okay, so it's Sunny Scopa is the brand I use for photos. Thank you, Anthony. I've never heard of Sunny Scopa. Don't know that brand, but they make water decals. That is great to know. Good to know. I'll have to look that up later when I have a moment. Sunny Scopa. Good. Thank you so much for that, Anthony. Matt says, hi, Derek. Thanks for your recommendations to join Instagram. I'm enjoying seeing other stained glass creators and the work they have on their tables. West Virginia, USA, checking in. Matt, that is great. Thank you so much for checking in on YouTube. Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, Instagram is fantastic. Social media in general. I know a lot of people are, don't like a lot of social media, and a lot of people don't like being part of Facebook or whatever, and I completely get that. I 100% get that. But I kind of feel that in the 21st century, in 2026, so many of us are on social media, and if you can kind of navigate your way through all the toxic stuff and all the horrible rubbish that can be on there, and you can find yourself some good groups. This is this creative community here we have in the live stream is a fantastic group of international creatives who are like-minded. We all want to share. We're not here to be toxic. The whole mantra of this is, if you can't say something positive, just don't say anything at all. We are here to encourage one another and support one another. So this is a great creative community. So Matt, thank you for being part of it. Really appreciate it. And on Instagram, there's lots of really great artists as well. I mean, the people do post some amazing things on Instagram and on Facebook. And so, if you can navigate your way through social media, it can be a tremendous resource for you. Where do you purchase that? Yeah, we'd like to know, Anthony, where you can get hold of those decals. If you have a website or something that you can forward to us, that would be really, really helpful. Marina says, I'm new to this world. I'm amazed by your art. Planning to buy the courses as soon as I have the materials. What would you say to a new future stained glass artist to succeed? Okay, that's brilliant. What would I say to a new stained glass artist to succeed? Well, yeah, I mean, I think the main thing I would say is to play and have fun with the medium. The medium, you get so much more out of anything that you do if you enjoy the process. If you take it seriously, do research and to learn as much as you can and read as much as you can and watch as many tutorials as you can and do courses and maybe even try and find an in-person course to do as well. But the most important thing is to have a lightness of heart and a lightness of mind and be experimental and allow yourself to play, because really humans are naturally playful creatures. We get so much out of play. When you think about all of our creative endeavors, where it's playing sports or playing a musical instrument or playing games, play is at the heart of it. And a lot of our forms of expression, whether it's music or poetry or art, is play based. It's experimenting and having fun. And I think that is possibly one of the key things to bear in mind, is to not be afraid of the medium. Not be afraid of making a mistake. We all make mistakes. In fact, if you're not making mistakes, you're not doing it right. You've got to break a few eggs to make an omelette, and all those kind of sayings are basically true. Essentially, you give yourself permission to be bad at something. Give yourself permission to be terrible at painting to start with, and allow yourself to think that's okay. Because every day I'm getting 1% better. I'm getting 1% better. And after 10 days, you're suddenly 10% better than you were. And after your 100 days, you're 100% better than when you started. And having that mindset, I think, is probably the most useful thing if you're starting out in the world of stained glass. Because everything is difficult. Everything is strange and unusual. Cutting glass is difficult to start with. You see people cutting glass. I post videos all the time of cutting glass, and a lot of people say, you make that look easy. You make that look too easy. After a while, it becomes second nature, but my goodness, it didn't start as second nature. I had to learn as well, and I was terrible to start with. I was really bad, at cutting glass, at leading, at soldering, everything. I was terrible at it. And I kind of learned over a period of time that, like, everybody is bad to start with. There are very few people who are kind of born with any abilities. We all have to learn. You've got a bit of natural talent. Most of us have got natural talent. But natural talent, not most of us, but some of us have natural talent. Natural talent will take you a little way along the journey, but by no means does it take you along the way, all the way. What takes you along the journey further is perseverance, determination, and showing up for yourself, and being comfortable with not being good at something, being comfortable with the discomfort of knowing that what you're creating isn't great to start with. There was a great piece of text written by a American broadcaster and author called Ira Glass, called The Gap. And to paraphrase it, he was talking basically about the gap between what our mind is saying we want to create and what we're actually creating. And very often when we're creating something to start with, we're kind of disappointed with what we create. We're kind of disappointed that what we're thinking of in our brain doesn't manifest on the paper, whether it's a poem or whether it's a song or whether it's a piece of art or whether it's something to do with a glass painting or making a stained glass window. Quite often we're disappointed with what we create. And that's the gap between our taste and our aspirations and our hopes and the reality. And basically, essentially, Ira Glass goes on to say, everyone who has ever created anything of any worth has gone through that process of seeing in their minds what they want and being disappointed with what they're producing. Everyone. Everyone has done that. And there's nothing wrong. It's not a sign that you should stop. It's not a sign that you should give up. It's a sign for you to continue to put the work in and to show up for yourself and get incrementally better at it. That's the only way to progress. If it were easy, we would all do it and you would give up quickly, because as you know, anything that's easy, you kind of tire of it quite quickly. The things that are challenging, the things that are hard, are the things that are really worthwhile doing. And doing a craft, making stained glass, designing stained glass, brings in so many different disciplines: design skills, color theory, taste, whatever your taste is. You might like contemporary work, you might like traditional work. It brings together a whole host of kind of craft skills: cutting glass, leading, soldering, copper foiling, dealing with clients, running a studio. It takes a whole lot of different talents. So you'll learn so many different things, and each of them you're not going to be great at to start with, but keep showing up for yourself and put the hours in and do the hard miles, and you will get better, I assure you. Because if I can get better, anybody can get better, believe me. And I was terrible to start with. I'd like a book on kiln temperature technology for glass. Yeah, I know. Well, the thing is with kiln temperature technology for glass, it's very simple when it comes to painting. You basically just take the glass straight up to temperature. It's different if you're doing fusing or slumping. That requires quite a lot of careful staging of temperatures, etc. But not with glass painting. You can take it straight up to your firing temperature, which is normally about 650 degrees centigrade, that kind of temperature. I'm able to find it on Amazon. I would think you could find it there in the UK. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you so much for that. Yehudith says, I'm working on three-dimensional work, drawing, painting, and frit on top, plus painting again. That sounds fantastic, Yehudith. And now I know you do glass painting and you do frit work and you do fusing and slumping and things like that. So yeah, congratulations. That's great to hear that you've got lots of things on the workbench just now. Sasha Oates says, are you based in the UK? Yeah, I am. I'm based in Leicestershire in the UK. If you look at the map of Great Britain and you look at the map of England in particular, Leicestershire is slap bang in the centre of England. That's where I am, in South Leicestershire here in the UK. I also want to sew glass. Jenna, good grief, you want to sew glass? Okay, good luck with that. Crystal says, loving the enamel painting 101 course. As a very bad painter, I had very good results. Wish I could share a photo. Yeah, oh, please share photos. And I'm really glad, Crystal, that you're enjoying the enamel painting 101 course. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Any feedback from anybody who's doing the courses is much appreciated. I really like to get your feedback. If there's things you want changed or improved, or if you feel there's something missing or whatever, do let me know, because I can always add to the course. I can always add more lessons to each of these online courses. I've got the ability to do, add more lessons to them moving forward. So let's just have a look at what we've got on the table today. So can you see Mr. Fox here? So really, this was just a kind of like, sometimes I don't have any lessons or anything planned too much, but this was really just a case of showing you some of the glass pieces that I've been doing over the years, especially that these are for, we were talking about the online courses. So this character here, this fox arrives in the Glass Painting 101 course, and it's an example which was made years ago. I don't know if the camera's picking this up, but can you see this here? D.W. Hunt, August 1987. So there's a story behind Mr. Fox here. I created this as a sample panel because at that time, back in 1987, 1988, I was quite frustrated with the lack of progress I was making running my own studio in the UK. And I was thinking, I wonder what it would be like to work in somewhere like Canada. So I reached out to some glass artists in Canada. I wrote to them and said, look, I'm thinking of coming over to Canada. I'd love to come and visit you, because I'm thinking I might want to sort of move out to Canada. And so I did this little sample panel here of the fox. to take out with me. So I put it into my suitcase just to show prospective studios that I could paint on glass. And I had an amazing time. I went over with my wife. She was my girlfriend at the time, and we flew into Toronto, and we met up with a German-Canadian glass artist, an amazing, very talented and famous glass artist called Lutz Hofschild. And he had a studio in Vancouver, and he also lived in Toronto. So I went to visit him in his home, and he was very kind and courteous, and we had spent some time together, and I was asking him all about, you know, being a stained glass artist in Canada. And I was so impressed with Canada. I absolutely loved Canada. And the fact that there was so much public art around. If you go into the main kind of thoroughfares in Toronto, there's public art everywhere because they finance it in a different way to the way we do it here in the UK. In the States and in Canada, you'd have the percentage for art scheme. So a percentage of the cost of a new build project would be allocated to public art, whether it's a piece of sculpture or a fountain or some stained glass or whatever. You would see these public art projects. So I was really kind of in love with Canada, and we drove all the way across Canada over the Rocky Mountains to Vancouver, met with other glass artists there, and I was showing them all this little painted piece, and I got some job offers because, you know, surprise, surprise, there's not that many glass artists around who can actually paint on glass, and that was the case in Canada, as it is to an extent the case in America and also in the UK. That, you know, we're a rare breed, but ultimately we decided to stay in the UK, and I continued with my business here in the UK, and I'm very glad I did because, you know, things worked out eventually. But there's a little story about this fox head that I thought I'd share with you guys. It was really in preparation for perhaps moving over to Canada, and this was my little calling card. This fox was a calling card. So here's another example of something from our Glass Painting 101 course, which is essentially a little bee. So it was just showing some of the techniques of dipping pen work. So you can see around the wing here, there's little dipping pen pieces here, and then some sgraffito techniques, some scratching out here, plus some yellow silver stain. Put it on the back and the reverse. So the Glass Painting 101 course really does go into a lot of detail about dipping pens, etc. And this is another example of some dipping pens. You can get some really interesting kind of results with dipping pen work. You may have seen this on my YouTube channel. I did this as a little live demonstration where I painted some lines out and then used a knit comb to scratch out the details of this feather. So again, another little sample. There's lots of little techniques that we learn, special effect techniques with the Glass Painting 101 course, as well as sort of traditional glass painting, you know, this kind of thing here, which is more classic glass painting techniques where we're doing different layers and silver stain, etc. So, you know, the Glass Painting 101 course, if you've never done glass painting, that's the one to do to start with. If you've done the glass painting course, you might then want to do the enamel painting course, which was released quite recently. It's really selling well. A lot of people are picking up on that course. So you're doing this kind of thing on the 101 enamel painting course, where you're doing colored enamels plus dipping pen work, etc. Some of them are really quite complicated, like this character here. You know, the glass painting one is more black and white images, where the enamel painting 101 is much more colored images like this. So yeah, they're available on my website, DerekHuntArtist.com. If you're interested, guys, you're very welcome. But again, 99% of what I do on social media is free. It's free for you guys to use, and I'm very happy to do it. It is mostly, as I say, free. It's just if you want to do more work and get more information, sometimes doing an online course or doing an in-person course is the way to go. David says, as a rough, I'll move on to this next one here. As a rough guide, what would an entry-level cost be to start color screen printing on glass? That's a great question, David. I think the best thing to do is to reach out to Jim Cockrell of Holt Glass. Jim does courses and he's the best person to give you a rough guide on the entry-level costs to start colored screen printing on glass. I'm not really qualified to tell you, because essentially I take my screen printed commissions to Proto Glass Studios, who are an amazing glass decorating studio here in the UK near Devizes in Wiltshire. Proto, Proto, Proto Glass Studios. They do all of my screen printing for me. But Halt Glass, if you look up Halt Glass, H-A-L-T Glass, Halt Glass on Instagram, David, you'll find an amazing resource for lots of information on screen printing on glass. Ruby Slippers, hey Mr. H, hey Tom, how are you doing? I hope you're well. Absolutely loving your piece that you showed me the other day, your pop star space sci-fi amazing kind of angel. Have you? I don't know if you've posted that up on social media yet, but I know you were getting it photographed. It looks amazing, absolutely amazing, Tom. Fantastic to see you on the live stream today. Welcome on board. Cindy says, can you post measurements for Reusch gum Arabic for use in dipping pen work? I can't get the mixture right. Cindy, thank you so much for that. I did see your question on Facebook, and I was going to come to that. So for dipping pen work, we don't use gum Arabic. Okay, we don't use gum Arabic. Essentially, gum Arabic will gum up your nib, the nib of your dipping pen. So you don't really want to use that. The mixture that I use for gum Arabic, the one that works for me, is 2 parts clove oil to 1 part lavender oil. And again, you'll find on my YouTube channel a variety of different videos going into dipping pen work. If you have a look through my tutorials on my YouTube channel, there are at least 2 videos on dipping pen work where I go through, the recipe for creating dipping pen ink. Essentially, from memory, it is 10 milligrams of your chosen paint, which will be a black paint, a tracing black or a brown, popped into a little jar, and then 10 milligrams of 10 milliliters, it's not milligrams, it's milliliters, 10 milliliters of paint, then 10 milliliters of clove oil, 5 milliliters of lavender oil. So half the amount of lavender oil to clove oil. Mix it all up in your little jar. It's an airtight jar. Seal the jar, leave it for at least 24 hours. You'll notice there's no gum Arabic in that recipe. We don't add any gum Arabic to it, Cindy. Leave it for at least 24 hours to slake and mature, and then mix it up again really, really well, because it settles, and what happens is the oil comes to the top and the paint goes to the bottom. So keep mixing it up and agitating it, then get your dipping pen and try to do your line work. It should be like an ink. It should be as thin and watery as an ink. If it's too oily, add a little bit more paint, but if it's too thick, you need to add a little bit more oils to that. So it's clove oil and lavender oil. Those are the 2 secret ingredients, Cindy. But you can always email me if you're having issues. Do email me at derek@derek-hunt.com. You'll find that on my YouTube channel, my email address, and I'll gladly post you the details of the recipe, the paint recipe. Glad to be able to help if I can. So hopefully, Cindy, that does answer your question. Brian, hey Brian, hello from St. Louis again, joining a bit late. Brian, welcome. Great to see you. It's fantastic you're joining from YouTube. How are you doing? I hope you're well. And Crystal says, that's definitely me breaking the rules. Yeah, great. Crystal, do break the rules. That's what it's all about. Rules are there to be broken, after all. You always discover your most interesting things when you take a chance and you do something slightly differently. What's the best enamel color range? Sonos Motsafa M7E says, what's the best enamel color range? What a great question. So we're going through a little bit of a transition just now when it comes to enamels. For a long time, I was recommending Reusch enamels, but Reusch have left the marketplace. They no longer make colored transparent enamels, but Fusemaster are in the process of bringing a new range of colored transparent enamels to market. So they are potentially the ones to follow. They haven't brought them to market yet, so I can't really vouch for them too much because I haven't tried them myself yet, but I'm hoping they're going to bring them to market sometime soon. Rogue Enamels, ROGUE, is a Canadian-based supplier who makes transparent enamels. In the UK, I don't know where you're based, but in the UK we have Dove enamels as well, and we have a French range of enamels called Debitus. So that may, I'm throwing a lot of names at you there, but essentially, if you go onto my website, DerekHuntArtist.com, and have a look at my online courses, you'll see the new online course is Enamel Painting 101. If you click on that, you will be able to download a list of suggested enamels plus a list of suppliers, their website addresses. So that's free to download. DerekHuntArtist.com, look for my online courses, find the enamel online course, and you will find a button to press which allows you to download a list of the tools and equipment that you'll need to do the course. It's just free for you to download. So it suggests the brushes that you need, and it suggests the paints and stains, and crucially the enamels. So hopefully that will answer your question, and it will give you some websites for American suppliers of enamels and European suppliers of enamels as well. That's the best I can suggest for you for the time being. Original Pell says, a friend of mine is going to make a leather apron for me. So much looking forward to getting it. Oh my goodness, do post us pictures when you get that. That's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I have sourced an apron maker, a leather apron maker here in Leicestershire, but I haven't yet to kind of present them with my apron, but I'm going to hopefully, when I have a moment, go and say, look, can you reproduce this apron for me? Because if I can get them to reproduce the design, then, you know, I think you guys might be interested in sourcing one for yourself. But yeah, Original Pals, fantastic. Looking forward to seeing what that new apron is going to look like. Brian says, I have an inexpensive canvas apron and it seems to work fine. The leather ones definitely look nicer. Yeah, the leather ones do look great. They last longer than the canvas ones, but they can be heavy, Brian, if you're just joining the conversation. We had a long conversation about different materials for aprons. Canvas aprons are absolutely great. I've got a whole lot of canvas aprons that I use with my students when I'm teaching here. I like the leather ones, but you've got to get really thin leather because it can get quite heavy after a period of time, especially if you're using a thicker leather. Thanks for the apron answer, Derek. I'm going for a lightweight leather crossback. I think saves my neck. Thunderwood Underwood, absolutely. Go for it. Go for it. Do post those aprons when you get them. I'd love to see what you're going for. That's absolutely brilliant. Charlotte, late to the party. Meeting up with Kate as she's in Bristol. Fantastic. Charlotte, do say hello to Kate for me. Two of my favorite glass artists who I was working with on the BBC show Make It at Market. Absolutely brilliant, Charlotte. Fantastic. I'm hoping that what we filmed together a couple of months back is going to make it to TV sometime soon, but there's a follow-up story about Charlotte, how she's progressing with her career, which I'm hoping is coming out on Make It in Market sometime soon. Hi Charlotte, fantastic to see you, and say hello to Kate for me as well. That would be absolutely brilliant. Sunny Scopa, yeah, let's have a little look for that on Amazon, you said, Anthony. Don't know it. It's absolutely new to me. Crystal says, I sent you a photograph of what I finished today. Brilliant, Crystal. After the stream, I'll have a little look at that. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for that. And Skip says, on waterside decals, some inks will fade after a few years. They are fun to use, but I no longer use them for that reason. Yeah, okay, that's good to know. If the decals are printed, like with regular printed inks, they will eventually fade. Because you need to use a paint that is a glass paint. Essentially, it's like ground down colored glass that's baked on at a high temperature. And that is fade resistant. Everything else that's like printed technology, you know, with the decals, etc., will fade after a period of time. Amazon carries that brand of water slide decals. Crystal, thank you for that. So guys, look, have a little look at the suggestion, the Sunny Scopa. That's the name once again that Anthony is suggesting, Sunny Scopa. for decals if you're interested in pursuing decals. Patty, hello from Illinois, USA. Patty, welcome on board. You're on Facebook today. Thank you so much for joining us on Facebook. Crystal says, sorry, I must run. Good to see you and hear your philosophy for the creating process. Brilliant. Okay, Crystal, take care. I know you're in the middle of your day. You're up in Canada. So, yeah, great to see you. Thanks for dropping in on the chat. To clarify, I have an inkjet laser printer. Might be more resistant to UV. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So laser inkjet printers, especially the black and white inkjet printers, use an iron oxide pigment as their ink. And you can actually bake it into the kiln. You can actually fire it onto the kiln. So I've used decals made with inkjet printers and fired them in the kiln at 650 degrees centigrade, and they've become permanent. It doesn't work with the colored laser printers because they use a different types of ink. But laser printers, black and whites, use iron oxide, which is the same iron oxide that we use when we paint on glass. Vicky Graham says, hello everyone, I'm late, but I'm catching up. Still cold here in New Jersey. Vicky, fantastic. Thank you for joining us on YouTube today, all the way from New Jersey, from cold New Jersey. Helen says, hello from Uddingston. Uddingston in Scotland? Uddingston, that's fantastic, Helen. I'm presuming it's Uddingston in Scotland. Or maybe there's more than one Uddingston, but welcome, Helen. Fantastic to see you. You're on Facebook as well. Brilliant that you're joining us today. Anthony says, I have a laser printer and I have not had an issue with fading, but I haven't had the pieces for more than a year yet. Okay, yeah. So laser printers, as I say, black and white laser printers can be good. They can definitely be useful. And Skip says, Anthony, I made up some samples and left them in the hot sunny window for 2 years as a test. The inkjet started to fade. The laser is probably more stable. Yeah, Skip, that's the same with me. I've got some panels that are made up with inkjet printed colored designs sandwiched between two pieces of glass in a stained glass window. And I've got next to it some inkjet printed black and white images sandwiched in between two pieces of colored glass. And the inkjet printing images are definitely fading. They're dissolving because of the UV sunlight. You know, they're just burning out the color after a period of time. But interestingly, the laser jet printing images are as good as the day they were printed. They are resisting degradation, which is amazing. HM Fan 2010 UV resistant dyes specifically formulated for inkjet printers would be your best bet to prevent fading. Keep the work out of direct sunlight will also help. Yeah, absolutely, HM Fan 2010. Keeping it out of direct sunlight is a brilliant suggestion because it's the sunlight, it's the UV light in sunlight which degrades any printed kind of color other than laser printing. Synergy says both courses are amazing, although my efforts are dodgy. Finding the time to do them is the problem. Ethel, thank you so much. You're referring to Glass Painting 101 and Enamel Painting 101. Yeah, well, the great thing about those online courses, Ethel, is you have long-term access, lifetime access to the courses, so you can dip in and out of them whenever it's convenient for you, and you can rewatch the videos as many times as you want. Thank you, Skip. And HM Fan says Anthony, and Skip says, I agree, I have the wrong type of printer, but UV resistant ink would be advised. Yeah, absolutely, UV resistant ink would be advised. Keeping it out of sunlight is a great suggestion. Thanks for the apron advice. You're very welcome, Thunderwood Underwood. And Tom Ruby Slippers says, there is a water decal that you can get that if you print with a laser printer can be fired on for permanence. The black will fire sepia. That's right. You're absolutely right, Tom. The black fires out to be like a chocolate brown, like a sepia brown. Yeah, it's great. It works really well. And there are makers who will print those decals out for you. I can't think of who they are off the top of my head. I haven't used them for years, but I have a glass artist in Loughborough near me, and she, Claire, does that for me, and she has got a black and white laser printer, and she prints them out and then fires them in the kiln for me. So it is possible to do it that way. Petri Anderson says, hey Petri, really late to the party tonight, just got back from a meeting, good to catch the tail end. Fantastic, Petri. Yeah, fantastic that you're here. Welcome on board. We're going to wrap up the live stream in a couple of minutes, guys, to be honest, because I am losing my voice. But wonderful to see you, Petri. If you can always watch this live stream on the rerun on Facebook or on YouTube. But it's great that you're joining us. I hope you're well, Petri. Looking forward to catching up with you soon. So guys, listen, if you haven't got any more questions, I'm going to love you and leave you. I will play you one more video, which will be our big hole challenge. The star challenge and the big hole challenge are still active. If you guys feel like sending me your latest videos on cutting a star or cutting a hole out of a single piece of glass, I will repost the videos if I can on Instagram and Facebook and on YouTube. It's just a bit of fun, but it's a good thing to do. So guys, remember to hit that like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, leave a like, leave comments, tell this great algorithm that there's an audience for creative glass conversations like this. And guys, thank you so much for all being part of this amazing live stream today. It's always wonderful when you pitch up. I wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. Thank you for showing up and for being part of this amazing creative community. I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye for now. You'll know about the Star Challenge. Now, the Star Challenge has really taken off on social media with other glass creators joining in on the Star Challenge, trying to cut a glass star, a 5-pointed glass star out of a clear piece of glass. Just cheap, the cheapest glass available for a bit of fun, really. And the challenge was given to me to actually create a new challenge, which is we're kind of wondering what to call it. Maybe you can help me and give me a suggestion for a title, but Big Hole Challenge or the Circle Challenge. What do you think? We're not actually cutting a circle, we're cutting a hole in the glass.
3, 2, 1, talk to me.
Okay.
Talk to me.
Remember, always wear goggles and gloves when you're trying this challenge.
Okay.
Have fun.